Welcome to Travel Insights Bali number 10. Outgrowing the Guru Disciple Relationship. The other day, I attended a festival where a well known guru was coming and visiting. And the purpose of his visit was to give darshan. And darshan, in his particular style, was to have eye-gazing contact with each disciple or person. And that is like an energetic transmission that opens up the heart into a space of love and their connection with the divine. So I went there after a morning of meditation elsewhere, and I was already in a pretty transcendent state. I went there and I attended. For the first half of the festival was like 4 or 5 different kirtan bands, chanting bands, and so it was very delightful and sitting there, and I decided to sit close near the front, and then I got attached to sitting in the front because I knew that when the guru comes, he'll be there and I'll be able to see the guru. So I sat and sang. I watched the disciples. They were dancing, they were singing, they were interacting with each other. There was so much joy, so much expectation. And the chanting and the singing was building energy for creating an expectation for the guru's arrival. Now I personally was getting pretty tired of sitting and sitting and sitting and sitting. It was like 4 hours of sitting and listening to chants. And my body was telling me it was time for me to get up and go. I needed to move, I needed to circulate my energy. But I was getting like, I gotta see this guru. I gotta see what it's like. So I was already kind of in conflict with my body needs. So sitting there, I watched and observed, what was going on inside of me, and I also noticed the scene, and it's the guru-disciple relationship scene, and I've done that years ago. 30 years ago, and here I'm seeing all these young people sort of reliving this example. Now there's so now, I wanted to ask, like, okay, well, what did I get out of this? What was the purpose for me to be there? And I noticed that I got triggered, and what I got triggered on was that it was the waiting, the constant waiting, the longing that was being built in this expectation. I mean, I was getting squished as the time went on. More and more of his disciples were coming in and taking up more of the space that I had, until eventually at some point I had to sit sideways because there was no room for my legs to go out like that. I was getting really squished, and that was intensifying my need to leave. So I wanted to talk about this whole guru-disciple relationship. There's a purpose behind this, a deeper purpose, and it's about our relationship with the divine. The divine is invisible. It's not a tactile presence. It's everywhere and in everything, but with young minds and young bodies and young hearts, and the minds are all over the place. The guru-disciple relationship is designed for creating a focus, an intention, a one point, so that all of the mind and the heart can go there. So the guru takes the place of that one point, of the object to be one pointed on. And it's great for young people, and there's the community, there's the love, there's so much experience, but at the same time, the young people are developing their capacity to be more and more one-pointed. Now, what happened to me was that I'm I'm coming to this place where I'm realizing maybe I've outgrown this. I am maybe twice as old as a lot of the people there. I've done this in my life and I've moved on. Um, so, and now I can recognize the divine inside, and that's the whole purpose, is to develop such a fine tunement to recognize the subtle light within, to let that be my guide. And so the light, that's what the guru does. It builds a little light inside, and it's supposed to be that which you follow until you don't need the physical form anymore, until you are able to fully recognize that light and follow it on your own. It is your own guidance. So for me, what triggered me was the constant waiting. I realized that I wasn't listening to myself, and what was good for them was no longer good for me. I'd already been there. I know what it feels like to be inside. So what it was doing was the opposite effect. It was taking me out of myself, waiting for something external to be an amazing experience, like a darshan, receiving light from a guru's eyes or something. Whereas that light is inside of me. So it's a different stage in my life. So I want to honor the guru-disciple relationship. There's a time and place for that for some people. And it later on, as it was for me, now it's not. And it's becoming more and more clear. Like my heart is always open. Like I do a lot of personal stuff, but sometimes I need a little external help or teacher here and there. It's always good to stay open to these things. But at the same time, it's really important to listen to the inner guidance and say, no, this is not where my heart is shining and opening, where my passion is starting to, actually I'm starting to feel the opposite, squished and contracted and waiting and inside and not knowing and in the dark. So if it's creating the opposite effect of opening up the heart, well, isn't that a sign? That's a sign that it's not useful anymore. So maybe I am outgrowing the paradigm of the guru-disciple relationship. And now that relationship is with my inner light. And that's where my passion grows and lightens up. So I hope my sharing might be helpful for some of you. Thank you for listening to today's Travel Insights Bali, and maybe I'll see you in the next one. Bye.